Hare. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26. And today we are studying text number 39. Dravya akrititvam gunata vyakti sangstatvam eva cha tejastvam tejasaha sadhi rupamatrasya vrittayaha Dravyakrititvam gunata Vyakti sangstatam evacha Tejastam tejasa sadvi Rupa matrasya vrittayaha Dravyakrititvam gunata Vyakti sangstatam evacha Tejastam tejasa sadvi Rupa matrasya vrittayaha Dravyakrititvam gunata
Yakrititvam gunata Yakti samstapam evacha Tejasatvam tejasa sadhi Rupa matrasya vrittayaha
Dravyakrititum gunata
Dravyakrititam gunata
Vyakti samstatam evacha
Vyakti sangstatam evacha
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Tejastam tejasa sattvi
Rupamat
Dravyakrititam gunata
Yavyakrititvam gunata
Yakti samstatvam evacha
Yakti samstatvam evacha
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Tejasatvam tejasa sadvi
Rupamatrasya vrittayaha
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha
Dravyakrititam gunata
Yavyakrititvam gunata
Vyakti samstatvam evacha
Yakti samstatvam evacha
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Rupamatrasya vrittayaha
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha Dravyakrititvam gunata
Dravyakrititam gunata
Vyakti samstatvam evacha
Vyakti sangstatam evacha
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Tejastam tejasa sattvi
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha
Rupamatrasya vrittayaha
Dravyakriti Vangutana
Dravyakrititam gunata
Vyakti Samatava Evasha
Vyakti sangstatam evacha
Tejasvan Tejasa Sadhi
Tejastam tejasa sattvi
Rupamatrasya Vivitanya
Rupamatrasya vrittayaha Dravyakrititam gunata Vyakti sangstatam evacha Tejastam tejasa sattvi Rupamatrasya vrittayaha
Okay, online.
द्रव्याकृतित्वं गुणता
Dravyakrititvam gunata
व्यक्तिसंस्थात्वमेव च
Yakti samstatvam evacha
तेजस्त्वं तेजसः साध्वी
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
रूपमात्रस्य वृत्तय
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha
Dravyakrititvam gunata
Dravyakrititvam gunata
Vyakti samstatvam evacha
Yakti samstatvam evacha
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Tejastvam tejasa sadvi
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha
Rupa matrasya vrittayaha Dravya of an object.
Krititvam dimension Gunata quality Vyakti sangstatvam individuality Eva also Cha and Tejastvam effulgence Tejasaha of fire Sadvi O virtuous lady, Rupa Matrasya, of the subtle element form, Vrittayaha, the characteristics. Translation: My dear mother, the characteristics of form are understood by dimension, quality, and individuality. The form of fire is appreciated by its effulgence. Purport: Every form that we appreciate has its particular dimensions and characteristics. The quality of a particular object is appreciated by its utility. But the form of sound is independent. Forms which are invisible can be understood only by touch. That is the independent appreciation of invisible form. Visible forms are understood by analytical study of their constitution. The constitution of a certain object is appreciated by its internal action. For example, the form of salt is appreciated by the interaction of salty tastes, and the form of sugar is appreciated by the interaction of sweet tastes. Taste and qualitative constitution are the basic principles in understanding the form of an object. My dear mother, the characteristics of form are understood by dimension, quality, and individuality. The form of fire is appreciated by its effulgence. We would love to hear from Your Holiness Maharaj. Please let us know. So, now we're going into form. So form and fire are connected. Eyes and fire are connected. And here we are also connecting the concepts of dimension, means the spatial relations, and quality and individuality. So Prabhupada here says, okay, this pen has a certain form. It's appreciated by its shape, its dimensions. Right? We've been doing some dimension drawings, some measurements, and when you look at the temple, you take it in a certain way, but actually it's various dimensions. The pillar comes out 3-4 inches this way, and then it goes to the left, 12 inches, and so on and so forth. Right? And every shape has its dimensions, and also bodily forms are also of different dimensions. Like we see the baby raccoons, they have a certain dimensions, which makes them very appealing and very very beautiful creature. Or we see Prabhupada's books, and you see, wow. The dimensions of this book, it's very substantial, right? We see Kapila Muni on the front cover, and this is where it starts to get especially important, is that the dimensions of the Supreme Lord's transcendental body and temple are not material forms. Those dimensions are not arbitrary. They are sanctified, and they are Satchit Ananda. So, but it still is form. So this is discussed in the Brahma Samhita, how the Lord has so many forms. Ramadi, beginning with Rama, the different incarnations, but all these forms are actually of Chinmaya Rasa, and they're known as Satchit Ananda, Vigraha, different forms. And the devotees are actually, the Lord is actually enjoying Himself in those forms. I mean, He appears beautiful, right, by His own will. And actually it's stated that the forms of the devotees also manifest according to the Lord's will, their service is actually dictating which form they manifest in. So it's stated in the 10th canto about the pastimes of Dwarkadish, or Krishna in Dwarka, and how he had actually married so many queens. The first of which, and the most, in one sense, the most glorified of all the queens of Krishna is Rukmini. So Rukmini is none other than the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, but she's actually more beautiful than Lakshmi, because Krishna is actually more beautiful than Vishnu, and Lakshmi ji actually, to accompany Lord Vishnu in his pastimes, or the way that we speak about it is also important. It's kind of complex, and the words are there in the 10th canto you can find. But basically, Krishna was very, very pleased how beautifully Rukmini had manifested herself to serve him in that form as his queen. And so these forms are constructed with different dimensions. You can measure the eyebrow length and the eye length and the nose length, and there are different very auspicious indications which are actually described in the Nectar of Devotion, various, or maybe it's a Krishna book, various auspicious features of the body, like different sizes, different dimensions of the hands, the eyes, in various parts of the body. And actually, one who knows the science can actually analyze the features of one's body and actually take some information about their karma and the things that will happen in that person's life, or the glory that they will achieve, and so on and so forth. So form is very interesting. Form is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, because we've been doing the temple renovations. And it's said in the mundane world, form follows function. So actually, we understand from the spiritual world, Krishna, he takes his form according to his function, what he's going to do, right? If he's going to appear to, to dig up or to rescue the Earth planet, or the Bhumandala, rather, from the depths of the Garbhodak ocean, then he comes as a boar, Varahadev, with tusks, which are just suited to dig into, a filthy place and remove something valuable. So, and just like Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord manifested that form just to achieve the function of rescuing and glorifying his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. So this is actually an interesting concept. Form follows function. So similarly, the human beings, we have a form, right? We are embodied in a particular form, which is meant for self-realization. It's not meant for sense gratification like the hogs and dogs or the pigeons, right? It's stated many times that the pigeons and the monkeys, they all have various types of beneficial qualities to their form. But the human beings have the purpose of self-realization. So that is the function of the human body, is to realize the self in devotional service. And there is no real self-realization without devotional service. Prabhupada, many times he discusses that, devotional service is the real mukti. It's a real mukti, because you can't actually be situated on the platform of liberation from materialistic activities until we get a higher taste, param drishva nivartate, by engaging in devotional service. This is the real platform of Brahman. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. We actually transcend the modes of nature by becoming fixed in devotional service. And when we are in devotional service, when we are in the Brahman platform, then we can actually associate with Brahman. Just like how can a very uncultured person, actually associate with a very aristocratic and very cultured and very mannerly people? It's not possible. There'll be too much static. So an uncultured person cannot, get along in that atmosphere. Similarly, we cannot actually associate with Krishna, who's the supreme pure. So pure, Shuddha Sattva, right? Or Vasudev Sattva. This Krishna, he is he's his name itself is prophylactic and antiseptic, means that it's completely purifying, right? Pavitram. So it is the purest of knowledge. The knowledge about Krishna is super pure. So we cannot actually associate with Krishna very intimately until we also become pure, right? Amazingly for us, even if we are impure, we can associate with Krishna in various forms through sound. The sound vibration, where the name is actually in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's described that actually he, Harinam Prabhu, the holy name, is more merciful than the named, than Krishna himself. And that's because he can come into any place, and as soon as he touches the ear, right, then we can understand his form. So this was also discussed here, is that an invisible thing can be understood only by touch. So when we hear the holy name, what is that? It's a form. It's actually known as Nama Rupa. The actual one of the incarnations for this Kali Yuga is actually Nama Rupa. It's his form. Rupa, it's a form. But it can only be understood through the ear. Actually, we also see it in writing. But that writing is actually a sound form which has been put into paper, recorded kirtan, so to speak, just like these books. These books are actually Krishna himself. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the form of Krishna also. But we cannot actually understand the form until we associate with touching, when the sound touches our eardrum and vibrates. So these are the things. So then Prabhupada discusses the visible forms. So visible forms are understood by analytical study of their constitution. So then he talks about salt, right? So the salt, the form of salt, right? It looks very similar to the form of processed sugar. They look almost the same. But the difference is by analyzation of their constitution, internal action. So the internal action of a particular type of oil separates it from another particular type of oil or lubricant or type variety. They may look very similar, but the difference is actually in the internal action. You put one liquid in this part of the car and you put another liquid in that part, right? The internal action, what does it do? How does it work? So Prabhupada gives an example that the scientists, they even go as far as to analyze the taste of stool. And Yeah, you can hear it. There's a lecture where he talks about that. And because they have to know everything. They have to analyze it. And but the one thing that they can't taste is like some cyanide or something like that, because as soon as you taste it, you die. You cannot taste it. So unfortunately, our pratyaksha, our analysis, or our gaining information simply through the gross senses, right? Simply through the knowledge acquiring senses of the body, it's not a perfect system of acquiring knowledge. Just as speculation or inference is also not a perfect system of gaining knowledge. Say there's an event, right? There's an event in town, and we're thinking, okay, there will be a big crowd in such and such a place. Or we'll think, oh, it's actually just a Wednesday. There's not going to be anybody that we can preach to. It's a dead day. There's no point in going out. That is a type of a speculation, because we have no idea, right? There may be a bigger group somewhere else. There may be, we may say, no, it's not going to rain. And all of a sudden, Krishna sends a cloud and there it is. So speculation is not or inference is not a perfect system of knowledge, just as acquiring knowledge with the senses, right? I can say, oh, here's that devotee. He looks sleepy. But actually, he's just meditating on the content of Krishna consciousness, right? No reason to be offended, devotees. No reason to be offended, right? So the idea is that I don't know. He may not be sleeping. He may just be resting his eyes, right? Or a devotee may say, or I may say, hey, I can observe something, but how much can I observe? Say there's a sound outside the window, right? And there's a dog which is barking there. And then I think it's a dog, but actually I go there and it was like a little baby that was crying or something, right? So this is the thing. I cannot see behind the wall. So how perfect is my sense perception? So these are called pramanams. Pramanam means that I'm using something as evidence. So the best pramanam is shabda praman, which means it's based on the vibration from higher authorities, shabda. So we're meant to actually base our entire worldview, every single thought that we have, we should filter it through what we heard from the authorities. Okay? And this is discussed unlimitedly in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how important the hearing process is. And we also pray to Srila Prabhupada every day that our only desire, think about that. What if our only desire was to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master? Right? That's the idea, is that when we pray these songs, we're actually begging Srila Prabhupada to bless us. There's a way in which we're begging Srila Prabhupada to bless us to actually realize that level of consciousness, to actually realize Narottam Das Thakur's bhav and of Guru Bhakti, how much he had devotion for his Guru Maharaj, Lokanath Goswami. We can get even a drop of a drop of a drop of a drop. Something even close to that, But that's his only desire. My only desire is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Guru Mukha Padma Vahakya, lotus mouth. Guru Mukha, the mouth of the spiritual master. So this is the thing, Shabda Praman. So we should basically try to rewrite all the scripts. Rewrite all the stories that play in our head. Right? If somebody speaks to us in a certain way, we may have a script and says, "Hey, you don't trust me? You don't trust me?" The scripture says, "Oh, I can rewrite that. Say, oh, I meant to please him. I meant to please these devotees, whatever they want. If they want to ask me, they want to test me, they want to quiz me, they want to make sure, I'm supposed to make sure that they're comfortable, right? I'm supposed to make sure that I'm on the same page with them. That's how I can serve them, right? All these things are there. Hari Guru Vaishnava, Bhagavad Gita. Right? If I want to listen to such and such mundane music and newspapers and all these other things, if I have permission from the spiritual master or from my authorities, okay, then I can take that. Okay, you can listen 10 minutes a day. Get yourself up to date, and you preach on the basis of those topics. They may say, I'm not saying, right? But they may say, no, only listen to ISKCON Kirtans. ISKCON Kirtans and Prabhupada lectures, ISKCON lectures, Prabhupada's books, right? Don't listen to any mundane music. These things you can find in the Nectar of Instruction. We don't hear this useless stuff. We don't really mind for it, right? So they may say, so then we rewrite it. We say, oh, I really want to listen to this song. I really want to listen to this. I really want to do that. And we rewrite it. Whatever Prabhupada said, whatever Krishna said, whatever Narada Muni said, whatever we read in the Bhagavatam, we rewrite it. And so that's the process. We hear, and then we apply it. Application is how we get the superpowers. It's said in the Vedas that you can become perfect. Isn't it? We're hearing all this about Krishna consciousness. You can actually attain the perfection of life. Swarup Siddhi. You can actually realize your spiritual form in the spiritual world. It says, come out of the darkness and into the light. Right? Jyotirgama. Come out of that place. Out of darkness and into the light. Why would it say that? Why would Vyasadeva tell us to do that if it wasn't possible? Why would Krishna say, you fix your mind at me, right? In such a way that even at the time of death, you will be able to actually think of me and you will come to me without fail. How is it that Krishna will say such a thing if it wasn't possible? And some people, they always talk, no, Prabhu, I have many, many more lives. I have many more lives. No, I'm so offensive, actually. I'm so offensive. Why would the scripture say that doesn't matter how many aparads we make? And it does. But the holy name, the process of chanting the holy name is the fearless path of progress, that you can make progress simply by chanting. And it's stated that even if we are offensive, which, unfortunately we are, then simply by chanting the holy names, then we can become free from those offenses. Right? And we can actually attain the higher levels of Krishna consciousness and go back to Krishna. Why would all of this be mentioned if it wasn't possible, if it was just a fantasy thing? There's a type of a logic which states that because it is mentioned, it must be possible. Right? So that can be analyzed at a different time. But the idea is, we should hear it. We should hear, and then we should take it. We have to apply ourselves, though. This is the thing, which is where the rubber hits the road. Because we're running all this theory. Yes, I can become perfect by chanting Hare Krishna. The deity is Krishna. Prabhupada, the spiritual master, is my way to get to Krishna. Krishna is the sweetest. Krishna is the most beautiful. Everything about Krishna is amazing. He's my supreme Lord, birth after birth, forever, eternally. I have my relationship with him. We can go on and on, all the theory. But when does it really hit? When does it really matter? You can realize your superpowers as Krishna's eternal servant by applying yourself to the process which is given. Therefore, we take seriously the order of the spiritual master, right? We chant 16 rounds a day, we follow 4 regular principles. If we don't, right, then something will be missing, because Krishna will see, okay, he has something, she has something going on. They kind of want me, but how much do they want me? Because I asked them to do something, apply themselves in a particular direction. So then we have to actually see. We have to actually see how sincere we are. Right? How much we really want to surrender. How much we are surrendering by the application. But what's amazing is as soon as we apply the teachings, it's working. It's instantly working. We can feel ourselves float up above the modes of nature as soon as we engage in Krishna consciousness. So it's up to us. We have to apply ourselves. We have to apply ourselves 24 hours a day. There's no break in terms of applying the science of Krishna consciousness. We have to be acting for Krishna's pleasure. We have to be offering all of our activities and all of our thoughts and all of our words for Krishna's pleasure. Then he will guide us. He will say, no, I don't like that. Actually, I don't like that behavior. Do this one. Offer that type of behavior to me. He will guide us from within, and we keep hearing from the spiritual master who guides us from without. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to add anything? Anything? Okay, so let's take a look here real quick. A few seconds. So, there is quite a few more verses in this chapter. We get to go up to 72. So now we're about 3/5 the way there. And Kapila will continue describing different things. So we heard all the way up to fire, which is connected with touch. Air and the sensations of touch, that's the air. And then there's the fire, which is connected with sight and form. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to Samadhi.